Hello and welcome back to our series Getting Started. My name is Gordon Dodman. I'm from FTC Team 8372, and today we will be going over how to set up a modern robotics electronics system.
So this is our modern robotics electronics system. It has four different components. It has the core power distribution module, or the CPDM for short, the core motor controller, the core servo controller, and the core device interface module. And each of these plays a specific role in controlling your robot. So this is your core power distribution module, or your CPDM for short. It has a USB in for plugging your phone into. It has a power in for plugging your battery into. It has 6 Anderson power pole outputs for plugging your modules into. And it has 7 USB outputs for also plugging your modules into. And it has a removable 20 amp fuse, which can be replaced. And it also has a power switch on the side. As a quick side note, if you need to power cycle the robot or turn it off and on, make sure you wait 10 seconds before turning the robot back on to allow the capacitors to dissipate all the energy they've been storing while it's running. So this is our core motor controller. It has a USB in for plugging into the core power distribution module. It has an Anderson power pole in for also plugging into the CPDM. And it has 2 Anderson power pole in ports and 2 4-pin encoder ports, so you can plug in your two motors and their respective encoders. This is the core servo controller. It has the same inputs as the motor controller. However, it has 6 channels for each of your servos so that you can plug in up to 6 servos. As a quick side note, if you look at the very far channel, you can see that it says W, R, and B, and those correspond to the different colors of a servo wire. So some servo wires will have yellow instead of white, but that's the same thing, and you just line up the colors to make sure that your servo will work correctly. Finally, we have the core device interface module, which takes all of the information from sensors and sends it back to your CPDM. It has no power import, however it does have a USB import for sending information. It has a multitude of inputs for servos, including 2 PWM ports, 6 I2C ports, 8 analog in ports, 8 digital in-out ports, and 2 analog out ports. All of these serve different purposes for different sensors or different uses, which we will go over in our sensors talk. As a quick side note, if you look closely at each of the ports, you can see black bars on the sides. Those black bars show you exactly where to plug the black wire into so that your sensor will work correctly. So this is what the modern robotics electronic system looks when everything is plugged in and working. So we have the core device interface module with our 2 Anderson power pole wires going into our modules. We have our USBs going into each of our modules, and we have our phone plugged into the side and the battery plugged into here. So as you can see, there are different lights. There are red lights in the core motor control and core servo controller when everything is working correctly. There is a green light that will only turn on when the phone is connected in the core device interface module. And there should be 4 blue LEDs on in your CPDM showing that everything is working when it is all plugged in. As you can see, we have a motor and encoder plugged into our motor controller, servo plugged into our servo controller, and a sensor that is working plugged into our core device interface module.